Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, guys. Welcome back to another live stream on the Sunni Defense. Or not even the Sunni Defense, we're just Sunni Defense now. We dropped the. So just SD. We've got a huge panel today, mashallah. We've even got people waiting in the lobby. So a lot of people here with a lot to say. So I'll try my best to manage it. So with me is Brother Idris Palmer. You've met him before. We've also got Abu Salman, Hassan Shemrani, Abu Mahdi, and Mort from the Mad Mamluks, who's pouting for some reason. Okay, so what have we got on today? So you've seen the thumbnail title, and I know it's provocative. So you have Sunni Mahdi versus Shia Mahdi versus Dajjal, right? So what our plan is today is to basically establish, number one, is the Sunni Mahdi, the Shia Mahdi. And then we're going to work through a few points, which I'll get through in a second, and it's to reach the conclusion of, is the Shia Mahdi Dajjal? Is this a fair statement? I know it's provocative, but yes, that's the plan. So the points we plan on getting through, just to skim through. Number one, we're going to be talking about Brother Idris and Brother Abu Salman will be speaking about who the Mahdi is according to Ahl Sunnah. So that will be inshallah for around 10-15 minutes. And then the brothers will jump out, and our experts into Shia, like Hassan Shemrani, and will be speaking about who the Mahdi is according to the 12 according similarities between the Shia Mahdi and Dajjal. We'll speak about what the Mahdi will apparently do, the Shia Mahdi will apparently do when he returns from his and make a connection, speaking about some connections between the Shia Mahdi and the Majus or the Zoroastrians, also a connection between the Shia Mahdi and Judaism. And finally, we'll come to a conclusion. Is it a fair conclusion to say that the Shia Mahdi is indeed the Dajjal? So a lot to get through, inshallah. Do expect some internet issues. We're all in different parts of the world, and obviously YouTube's suffering with their own servers as well because it's being overloaded because of the current situation with the coronavirus. So our first thing is to establish who the Mahdi is according to Ahl Sunnah. Now to do that, I'm going to have Brother Idris Palmer speaking about the topic. Why did I invite Idris on here? It's because he's firmly established, he's firmly grounded on establishing who the Sunni Mahdi is. Why? Because he's been debating the Nation of Islam who claim to have a Mahdi. And also with us is Brother Abu Salman. Now I'd just like to give you guys an introduction because I know you don't know Abu Salman. So Abu Salman's a freelance translator, also a researcher, author, teacher, tutor, and lecturer, mashallah. He's got a master's in Aqidah from the University of Medina and a bachelor's from the College of Hadith. He's a doctoral candidate at the same university. He's taught at the American Open University, Knowledge International University, and some others as well. There's quite a lot there, it's a long list. So yes, he's also done a thesis on the topic that he's going to be speaking about. So I'd like to leave things to both Idris and Abu Salman, please. Go.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Because of the actual topic and Abu Salman's expertise, of course, in the issue and his experience and expertise, I'm going to defer that to him, inshallah, to make whatever introductory statements or explanation that he wishes to give, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The issue of the Mahdi, according to Ahl Sunnah, has been a controversial one. To give you an idea of some of the controversies, in the elder times, someone like Ibn Khaldun denied that there was such a thing as a Mahdi. And I've met people, even imams of masjids and reputable brothers and shuyukh, who deny the Mahdi. and say, no, this is just a fabrication. It entered in among the Sunnis by the way of the Shia, and so on and so forth. So there are some controversies that surround this, and we should be aware of them. That's one thing to enter. But then others of Ahl Sunnah have mentioned that, yes, the ahadith, the narrations, the authentic narrations of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they do mention they are confirmed and authentic, mentioning there will be a person from the Ahl Bayt of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who will come out when the earth is filled with injustice, and that he will be co-contemporary with the second descent of Jesus alayhi salam, and that Jesus alayhi salam will pray behind him in Bayt al-Maqdis. There are quite a few of the narrations, and many of the scholars have mentioned that it reaches up to the had of tawatur, meaning that these have been narrated in such a numerous fashion with various change of authentic narrators that it cannot be denied. I can mention a couple of the famous ones. For instance, al-Mahdi min Ahl al-Bayt yaslahu Allah bil-layla. The Mahdi is one of Ahl al-Bayt. Allah will rectify him in a night. This is reported by, excuse me, I'm moving it down. Reported by Ahmed ibn Majah and declared authentic by Ahmed Shakir, Sheikh al-Naud and Sheikh al-Albani, some of the most well-known scholars of hadith in the modern era. And then so these are some of the narrations. There are narrations like that which specifically mention the name al-Mahdi. So I'm just using that as one of those narrations. And then there's many more, as you can see from the work that I've produced about it. There is other narrations that don't mention specifically the word al-Mahdi, but they are mentioned by many people. For instance, the one that says, لو لم يبقى من الدهر إلى يوم لبعث الله رجل من أهل البيت يملأها عدنا كما ملئت جورا. Even if one day remained, Allah will send a man from my household, Ahl Bayti, who will fill the world with justice after it has been filled with tyrannical injustice. So this is one of the narrations that have been mentioned by the narrators of hadith, and it's reported by Ahmed and Abu Dawood, and it's mentioned as authentic by Sheikh Albani in his famous book Sahih al-Jami' al-Saghir. So I'm just mentioning that there are these narrations, but because they are not in the Bukhari and Muslim, then people have a tendency sometimes to belittle them. Because you know how many people don't have the knowledge to know that there are many authentic hadiths that are mentioned in other than Bukhari and Muslim. Exactly. So this has, so indeed, it is a controversial point. And if we have our brothers and sisters in Islam who are not aware of the scholarship of this point, it's something that we should be lenient with them about, because it's something that needs the scholarship to look into the books of the people of Ahl Sunnah and Jama'ah and the narrations of the hadith. Now, there was a famous man who denied the Mahdi, and that was after the happening in the Haram, when the famous man Juhayman tried to take over the Haram and claimed that he was a Mahdi. And so some people started to write books denying that this whole Mahdi idea is incorrect. And Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Ibad, may Allah prolong and protect him, Amen. Prolong his life and protect him, mashallah, tabarakallah. He wrote a book defending the idea of the Mahdi and proving that this indeed is one of the foremost beliefs of Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah down through the centuries. So you can refer back to that book and to the other books about this this issue. Barakallah fikum. That, inshallah, hopefully will suffice as just an introduction to the idea. So, تفضل يا إدريس. جزاكم الله خير.
Yeah.
Barakallah feekum. Go for it, Brother Idris. Would you like to add to that? And then Abu Mahdi, I know you have something to input as well, so you can go after Idris, inshallah.
Naam, bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ba'd. Inshallah, I'll just be brief and perhaps add maybe some aspects that Abu Salman has touched on in his introduction. And that is primarily that the belief in a savior or hero figure is a recurrent theme amongst the major religions of man. The Jews, for example, believe that their Messiah is a redeemer of Israel and a world leader. The Christians believe in the second coming of Isa as being a warrior, a god, and final judge. And the Hindus, of course, with their Trinitarian concept, that is of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, believe that he is the Mahdi, in their view, is the reincarnation of Vishnu, as sometimes he's depicted as being on a white horse to usher in the rule of Hinduism. The Buddhists likewise believe that in a return of Buddha. These Zoroastrians also in a figure which they believe, and so forth. Yet, with respect of Ahl Sunnah, that is the Sunnis, in accordance with historic, reliable, and authentic sources of Islam, we of course maintain the coming of the Mahdi, who is be a rightly guided leader from the family of the Prophet ﷺ, who will lead the Muslims at a time which is actually contemporaneous to the second coming of Isa, and that whereas the Shia, that is amongst the 12 or Shia, believe that in the appearance of Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Askari, who they say has remained in hiding for around 12 centuries, and then a number of other sectarians who have made claims about the Mahdi. But as Abu Salman has touched on, the fact is that the differences amongst, let's say, certain groups has remained, and of course is somewhat of a controversial topic. On top of that, you find that in Islamic history that many volumes, of course, may be produced, which may use, let's say, fabricated narrations about the Mahdi, and numerous false claimants, whether from these narrations have come from sectarians or otherwise. But as a result, you find that much confusion, aversion, and ignorance, it shouldn't not lead a Muslim to negate the fact that there are authentic narrations from the scholars of Ahl Sunnah, which inform us authentically the exact words of the Prophet ﷺ. And these narratives inform us that he is, as I described before or alluded to before, is a normal person of Ahl al-Bayt, that is of the household of the Prophet ﷺ, who will appear in the latter days of the world before the day of resurrection as a heroic leader of the rightly guided and victorious group of the Muslims. And he's also been described authentically as not having any kind of the deviant sectarian attachments and spiteful vengeance against other Muslims, as opposed to, say, some of the narrations which we may find from certain sectarian groups. But that he is actually a great leader, and as I just alluded to before, that he is an ally who is who's contemporaneous with Isa bin Maryam, and that in the epic battle against Dajjal and Dajjal's followers, he will of course be in that same time frame. So, inshallah, this is just a very, very brief, synopsis of the topic. Inshallah, we can perhaps go into it maybe a little bit further. And I suppose I will, go on and defer it now to one of the other brothers.
Brother Idris and Brother Abu Salman. Really appreciate you guys inputting here. What I'll do now is I'm going to put you guys in the lobby since it's getting a little overloaded here, and I'll bring in Abu Mahdi, inshallah. Okay, guys, let me just refresh it. Okay, Abu Mahdi, your mic is unmuted. Guys, I'm sure you'll recognize the voice of Abu Mahdi. He's someone who works with us at the Sunni Defense. He's narrated some of our videos. Most recently, I believe it's our response to Zulfiqar al-Maghribi, who made the stupid claim. Well, he tried to prove that Omar killed Fatima. We're going to be responding to his response soon, inshallah. We're working on that video. Yeah. So, Mahdi,
sorry, you're breaking up.
Yeah, please, if you can hear me, go for it, Abu Mahdi.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Jazakallah khairan, and jazakumullah khairan to the shuyukh for their inputs at the start of the live stream. The comments I want to make now regarding the Mahdi are kind of just to act as a bridge between an introduction to the Mahdi as Ahlus Sunnah know him, and towards the obviously inevitable veering towards the main topic of the Mahdi Bain Sunnah wa Shia, which our brother Hassan will elaborate upon. Some of the, an overall look at the Mahdi provides you with a couple of details. There are a number of reports in Sunni works regarding the Mahdi. You have details about how his Islah will be, where he will rule, how he will be given bay'ah to, and his relationship with Isa ibn Maryam and the coming of Dajjal. So you have the bulk of it addresses the period in which he is active. Very little is known about what he's like before his Islah, before his rectification. And even once the descent of Isa ibn Maryam occurs, you don't really hear much about what happens to the Mahdi after that. So from what we know, is that the Mahdi, once his part has been played, after that, it's kind of like, okay, we hand it over now to Isa ibn Maryam, alayhi salam, and that's it. So the details in regards to the Mahdi are such that he will play a pivotal role, but it's not a role, or it's not some kind of knowledge that's extremely essential for us as Ahlus Sunnah and for our salvation as we are existing as Muslims today in this era. It's something to know, something to be aware of. It's something to appreciate the lessons from. And if we live in that era, that we hope to be from amongst the Mahdi's followers. But it's not something that is a defining characteristic of our Aqidah as we live and breathe it right now. As for, then this leads us obviously into the argument or the discussion into what happens, how the Mahdi is in regards to between the Sunnis and the Shia, and how important the Mahdi is, or the Shia Mahdi is in regards to their Aqidah and their belief system, and the kind of difference between the two, and why when we discuss the difference between the two and are they the same or how are they different, it's important to realize that for them it's a very, very defining characteristic of their Aqidah, and for us it's there. It's a great thing to have. It's a great thing to know. It's important to know. It's a crucial part of our future history. But as for us living and breathing, it's not actually a part of our essential day-to-day aqidah, which defines our masir in the akhirah. So that's one of the main kind of things I want to discuss about and bridging the inevitable topic when Brother Hassan takes the mic and discusses the concept of the Mahdi between Sunni and Shia and the characteristics of the Shia Mahdi and the importance, the very central importance that the Shia Mahdi holds in 12 Shiaism with Shias. So yeah, hand it over to him.
Brother Abu Mahdi, did you want to refer to that example from Twitter that we were speaking about, Abu Mahdi, or are you just gonna not do that? You there? Can you hear me? No. Okay. Hassan Shemrani, go for it, bro.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa
Alaikum brothers.
Wa
Assalamu alaikum dear viewers.
Salam.
You can hear my voice clearly, yes?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Abu Mahdi's in the room as well, inshallah. You see, today I have prepared some stuff, but I believe it's more like we will talk about all sorts of things. It's not a detailed lecture about a specific topic. Otherwise, yes, it should be really organized, speaking about the Sunni belief in the Mahdi and similarities between the Sunni Mahdi, the Shia Mahdi, differences, and what the Shias do not teach many people about the Mahdi. And this is why I'm going to enter now. You guys have to understand that the Shia and the propagandists, the Iranian regime, the Ayatollahs, on their websites, what image of the Mahdi do you have from their side? What do you always hear? Well, I used to be a Shi'i, and I used to even do da'wah as a Shi'i. And obviously, I'm well aware of Shi'i da'wah. We can summarize their da'wah when it comes to the 12th Imam, the so-called Mahdi, that he's a peace bringer. Imam Mahdi, progeny of the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and he's a peace bringer. The earth will be filled with injustice, and he will bring peace. Tyranny will vanish. And you see, in the last few days even, they started I saw it on Iranian social media, but most Iranians don't care. Most Iranian Shias are semi-agnostics, semi-atheists, many. They don't care about religion. When I say Iranian social media, I'm talking about the Munafiq Khomeinists who have banned Twitter inside Iran, but they use it themselves, the likes of Khomeini and many Iranian MPs.
Ahmadinejad, actually. Got an interesting Twitter account, huh?
Yeah, all of them, and many Basijis. So there's one hashtag they have started. It's called the Promised Messiah. Some of you who are watching right now, maybe here there, they have encountered it on Twitter. The Promised Messiah. It's every time one Dajjal sect comes. A few weeks ago it was the Qadianis. They promised one. There's some crackhead from Qadian, from India. And now it's the time for these Zanadiqa heretics to shove it down our throat, their so-called peace bringer. So you see the hashtag. I saw the hashtag a few days ago. The Promised Messiah. Oh no, what was it? Yeah, the Promised Messiah.
Promised Savior. Promised Savior.
Sorry. Yeah. The Promised Savior. And everything you see, you can type right now even yourself. Everything is just positivity. The Promised Savior, the peace bringer. Stuff like that. You see, I printed it out today. I don't know if you can see it. This is one of my articles. It's called The Spawn of the Sasanian Majus. The Antichrist, the King of the Jews and King of the Majus.
I'll post the link to that article, inshallah.
Yeah, obviously. The sadistic mass murderer and anti-Arab bigot, the hidden Rafidi Mahdi. Well, somebody should make this a little book. And my article is I think
we'll go through. I'll read out some of the narrations.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. But as an introduction, I just want to say, before we even talk about similarities of the Mahdi of the Dajjal, leave that aside for now. Leave that aside. What is important for now is to understand they have managed in the propaganda machine, the da'wah machine, they have managed to give a very romanticized, to deliver and to propagate a very romanticized version of the Mahdi, whereas in reality, this is what he's mythical, and he was never born in the first place. Yes, but there's no contradiction in me saying, or Ahlul Sunnah, not just Ahlul Sunnah, the Zaydis and many other Shia sects, they don't even believe in his existence. That the 11th Imam al-Askari had this son. However, that's irrelevant. The way they have described him, many of his attributes, not all of them, it's not a necessity. Some Shia say, what do you mean that he resembles the Dajjal in your books? There's many attributes of your Dajjal that are not similar to a Mahdi. Nobody said everything. Many significant ones. And among them is that he is in reality, in their books, described as a mass murdering anti-Arab messiah of the Jews and the Majus of the Persians. And I have filled my article with evidences from the books that we can, when my article is itself a book, I should make it a book, that we can read, inshallah. And that was a small introduction, inshallah.
Barakallahu fiikum, Hassan. Now, I think based on what Hassan said, the way they've romanticized, the awaited savior, it's as if it's very similar.
No, you cut off. Nobody can hear you. It's very similar. No. You were cut off.
The case, is it?
No, you were cut off from the very beginning when you started talking. You said it's very similar.
Go for it, Hassan. It seems like I'm having some kind of internet connection issues.
Yeah. We can't hear you. So, this topic I don't know how to describe it. I would say this topic is, at times, it could be really hilarious. If I read the narrations, Allah is my witness. When you read about the concept of the Mahdi, how he was born, the story could come out from Nollywood or Bollywood, without exaggeration, and with all due respect to Bollywood.
Hassan, can I stop you there? Because I think it's important to establish who is this 12th Imam? How was he born? What do we know about him? And as you've just said, his coming or his existence is extremely suspicious. Of course, from our standards, he doesn't exist, but even from 12 standards, just the story about him.
Let me give you a quick, for everybody who doesn't know, I've written it down already. Let me give you a quick summary of who he is or how he was born. Obviously, they claim that there are 12 Imams, infallible ones, which none of them was infallible. None of them made these claims that they're infallible. And they themselves, the Imamites, imagine, the Imamite sects, there was more than only one Imamite sect. Even today there's more than one. Zaydis are Imamites in a sense as well. They follow a particular set of Imams, and Zayd is the top Imam. And if they believe even the Ahlul Kisa are Ma'sumin, infallible. But anyway, in the past, there were many more Imamites. The 12 of us, due to various factors, not because they're superior by Aqidah and whatnot, political factors, many factors, are the majority today. They believe that there are 12 infallible Imams. The 12th one went into occultation. They believe that this 12th Imam was born in the Iraqi city of Samarra, which is hilarious because Samarra is it's virtually 100% Sunni. The Shias are trying to change the demographics there, just like the Iranian regime tries to change the demographics of Iranian Sunni regions by bringing people from Tehran, Shiraz, Shias, and majority Sunni cities and towns of Iran. Anyway, right up till today, all the tribes and actual natives of Samarra are Sunnis. Anyway, the 11th Imam, Imam al-Askari, he also never claimed to be an infallible Imam. They have attributed a son to him. They have attributed around 1,200 years plus a son to him, who then went into occultation. What does occultation mean? Occultation means into hiding, and they divided into two occultations. The minor one, yeah, in Arabic it's called Ghaibatul Sughra, and the major one, Ghaibatul Kubra. And of course, one thing that some Sunnis, the laymen maybe, the knowledgeable ones and learned ones, do not believe that he literally lives in his cave there. This is not correct. However, even if I say or anybody says cave Mahdi or something, then nobody means from the learned ones that he literally lives in a cave. However, they believe that last time he was seen was in that cave. Well, it's not a cave. It's the basement, the cellar of his father in the house of Samarra, where apparently his father hid him from the authorities. Now, the reality is, his father, alayhi salam, and may Allah have mercy on him, Imam Askari, he had, I forgot the term in English, he had this illness where, as a male, you can't get any children. So nobody expected any child from him. Or him, from any woman from his wives or his concubines, that any of them going to be a child for him. And in their own reports, in the 12 reports, and that's the hilarious part, they have narrations how Ja'far, the brother of Imam Askari, denied that his brother has any son, because he knew that the Zanadiqa, the charlatans, over 1,200 years ago, were lying in the name of his father, were lying in the name of Ahlul Bayt. For what? For the sake of what? For the sake of this. Just like today. Now you might ask, what do you mean? Well, when his own brother, the brother of Imam Askari, denied that Imam Askari has a son, and the Rafida attacked him, and they attacked him till today. You know, and then they call us Nasibis, they call us Sunnah Nasibis, but they insult the brother of the 11th Imam. Well, he was there's no such thing as infallible Imam, but what they consider as infallible Imam, Al-Askari, they insulted his brother Ja'far and nicknamed him Al-Kadhab. Ja'far Al-Kadhab. So subhanAllah, a member of the Ahlul Bayt, a Hashimi, at the very least, a Hashimi and brother of Imam Askari, they called him what? They call him, to this very day, they call him Ja'far Al-Kadhab, Ja'far the liar. Why? Because he denied what everybody else denies. Ahlul Sunnah, other Shia groups, that Imam Askari had no son. It's simple. And then guess what happened? I'm going to make this quick, inshallah. A group of four so-called Babs, deputies in the Mahdi, non-infallible dudes, went around and claimed that they are the representatives of this hidden one. Can you believe this? Can you, a scam bigger than this? I'm always telling, Hollywood and Bollywood and Nollywood haven't yet read these narrations in Shia books. And I'm not talking about weak ones and somebody said, oh, it's probably weak narrations. They have written, compiled what I'm mentioning here in their books of creed in regards to the Mahdi. Because as a sect, they have books, the 12 of us have books like Kitabul Ghaiba, the book of occultation, by this sheikh, by that sheikh, by the major ones of the past and today. They have compiled this nonsense and they believe in this. So anyway, this is the story, that when the own family of the 11th Imam said, our brother, my brother can't even have any children. He denied his, the 12th Imam. The Rafida, the extremist Shias at that time, were obsessed with this Mahdi business and Mahdi game. They accused him of being a liar. Then a group of charlatans, 4 so-called Babs, gates to the Mahdi, claimed that he's in minor occultation. And during the time of minor occultation, they collected khums money from the gullible Shias. And then once they collected their money and whatnot, some of the narrations state that these 4 Babs, like dogs, fought each other over the wealth. SubhanAllah. Anyway, once they couldn't keep this lie up anymore, these four so-called representatives said he went into major occultation. And then guess what? Today, they're fuqaha. They have fabricated narrations that the Mahdi said that in my absence, follow the fuqaha. Who are the fuqaha? Ayatollah Mazahiri, Ayatollah Sistani, and another Abzor Distani, and all these people who can't, most of them, or 99% of them, who can't read the Fatiha correctly, from whom they take their deen from. Non-infallibles, fallible people. This is in short the story of their belief in the 12th Imam. There's much more to tell, but obviously I don't want to take the time of our brothers as well.
Jazakallah khairan, Hassan. Can you hear me okay? Because I know you guys are having some issues. If it does cut out, feel free to jump in at any time. Okay, so Hassan's clearly established that, well, not just Hassan, even Abu Salman and Idris before, we've clearly established that definitely the Shia Mahdi is not the Sunni Mahdi. We're talking about two different people, two different sets of narrations. There are some similarities, such as, the Kunya Mahdi. But of course, there's clearly differences. So they're not the same person. And of course, the way we view the Mahdi, most importantly, is completely different. As Abu Mahdi was saying, it is vital in Ahlul Sunnah to understand who the Mahdi is, but it is, it's not part of our salvation, or it's not to this, it doesn't carry the same importance as it does as in Shiism. You cannot reject the Mahdi in 12 Shiism. You are kafir, according to. Okay, so Hassan's given us some kind of background with regards to his birth. Now, of course, as I said before, we want to establish whether or not it is fair to say he is the Dajjal. So let's establish who the Dajjal is. I'd like to invite Abu Fatimah to join me as well for this. Abu Fatimah, your camera's on. I know you don't want your camera to be on, so if you are there, you can turn it off. And of course, I want Hassan Shemrani and Abu Mahdi to join me as well. So, importantly, very important, guys, anything to do with the end of times, such as the Mahdi, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, there are, and a lot of baseless reports that have been popularly spread. So if you go on YouTube, watch any video, you'll find a lot of information about the end of times, but a lot of it is baseless. So we have to be extremely careful here, okay? Including the Dajjal. And even when you look at reports that are widely accepted as authentic or are popular, you have to be careful as well. Because sometimes they seemingly seem to contradict themselves. So we have to always be careful, especially with the topic of Dajjal. So what we do know about the Dajjal, of course, there's some Sahih narrations in Bukhari. You've heard them all. The Dajjal is one-eyed and your Lord is not one-eyed, right? And, narration speaking about his eye looking like a floating grape. There's other narrations. I'm just skimming through them. I'm just summarizing them for you. He's a one-eyed liar. What else do we have? This is all Bukhari so far. We have another narration saying the Dajjal will emerge from a land in the east called Khurasan, and this was classified as Sahih by Albani. So that might be one similarity that we'll go into a bit later on. So we also have another narration saying that the Dajjal will emerge from the Jews of Isfahan, and with him will be 70,000 Jews. Now, importantly is the fitna of the Dajjal. So this is where we find more similarities. Less about physical appearance, more about the fitna. And I know Hassan's going to elaborate on that. I'm just going to bring in Abu Fatimah. Give me a second. Abu Fatimah, you might want to unmute your mic. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm sorry. I think YouTube and the servers are having some issues.
Yeah, there's some major issues for everyone. Did you miss what I was saying?
I missed. I just heard Abu Fatima. So.
Never mind. We were just establishing who the Dajjal is, okay? And
yes.
we were saying that most likely we'll find similarities with the Shia Mahdi with the fitna of the Dajjal and some of the things that he will be doing, okay? Yes. Now, we'll get into it later, but one of the things that will be part of the fitna of Dajjal, and I'll read the narration out. It's classified as Sahih by Albani, narrated by Ibn Majah. The Prophet ﷺ said of the Dajjal, part of his fitna that he will say to a Bedouin, do you think that if I resurrect your father and mother for you, you will testify that I am your Lord? He will say yes. So two devils will appear to him in the image of his father and mother, saying, oh my son, follow him, for he is your Lord. So as you can see, he will deceive people as to make it look like he's resurrecting people. Now, similarly, as we'll get into shortly, the Shia Mahdi will also resurrect, but you'll be shocked by some of the things that Hassan's going to be introducing to us. I think it's fair to say, based on the narrations, if you compare the Sunni narrations of the Dajjal and the Shia narrations of their Mahdi is worse. SubhanAllah, imagine. And Rasulullah said, the Dajjal is the greatest fitna yet. and we'll get to that. Fatima, did you want to add anything? Abu Mahdi, Hassan, feel free to jump in whenever.
I think that Hassan Shemrani is actually he's more knowledgeable in this field than me, but a few narrations that I found problematic with the Shia narrations is that the resurrection of certain Sahaba, radiallahu ta'ala anhum, and Sahabiyat, and that he will slaughter them upon the kufr. They were meant to die.
Oh, there's a lot of slaughtering. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
So I mean, subhanallah, this is pretty much a Dajjal, that a liar that has anti-Arab sentiments and anti-Islamic sentiments. That and subhanallah, one can point out many of the similarities between.
Yeah, voice is gone.
Yeah, it's coming off. I think, like I said, the similarities are going to be more to do with the fitna, and by the conclusion, I think everyone will understand that it is fair to say that the 12 Shias are ready to be fooled by the Dajjal. I think that would be a fair conclusion based on what we're going to hear about their Mahdi, what they've been taught about their Mahdi, and what we've been taught about the Dajjal. Hassan, let's get into the nitty-gritty, inshallah.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, Hassan, I'd like to clear up some misconceptions since you were establishing who the Shia Mahdi is. Now, of course, regularly when you see Sunnis and Shias attacking one another on social media, one of the things that Sunnis will always say to Shias, you've even seen polemicists make this mistake by saying things such as, your Mahdi's hiding in a cave, or your Mahdi's hiding in a cellar. Is this correct?
According to travel belief, the 12th Imam is roaming the earth, and he is provided by Allah, and he lives and goes wherever he wants, and he visits, if he likes, as the scholars say. Just a few days ago I listened to one of them. He visits the basement, if he likes, of his father Al-Askari in Samarkand, the basement of his house, where he was seen the last time. So if any Sunni believes I doubt that. I mean, come on, other than really super layman, that they actually, someone literally believes he's literally there 24 hours doing what? I mean,
I've seen it said. I've seen Sunni polemicists say such things.
No, I agree. No, I agree. Listen, things come out of my mouth as well. If someone, or I say, مثلا, Dajjal, or 12 Dajjal, or basement Mahdi, cave Mahdi, or something like that. I thought our opponents are not literalists. Who understands from this that anybody believes that he's literally 24 hours residing in a cave or in a basement? I mean, listen, there's a lot of jahl going around, that some Sunnis do believe that he's literally in a cave. I don't know, but the people of knowledge, people who have studied their sect, they don't believe in this. We know what they believe in, and I can tell you, they believe, and you have to understand this, they believe that this 12th Imam is on the run, or at least he was on the run. And that's the irony, because one thing I've learned, whenever the Rafida unjustly, really, and most of the attacks are obviously unjustly, if not all, or criticism, whenever they say, for example, Umar ibn Khattab or Fulan Sahabi ran away in this battlefield and on that battlefield, and then you look at their books, the scholars have, this is not weak hadith or something, that someone said, oh, Shemrani is quoting that. This is testimony from the scholars. For example, their scholars are saying that Imam literally ran away, was running on the run from mortal, simple human beings like the Bani Abbas. Why? This is important. The why is important. Out of fear of being killed. Fear. Khawf. They've literally used the word. So it's halal for their superpowers possessing, atoms controlling, Hujjah on earth, to run away from a bunch of mortals of Bani Abbas. Yeah. But if Fulan Sahabi or that Sahabi in a absolute chaotic situation, Fulan runs, that's Kufr Akbar. But anyway, I want to read the first narration, which I believe is very, very important, from my article that I believe, in its own right is a little book.
Hassan, can I say one thing before you carry on? I think there's loads of different people watching. I don't think many of them are actually properly familiar with the concept of the Shia Mahdi and how it differs from the Sunni Mahdi. We discussed the background of the Sunni Mahdi, how Muhammad bin Abdullah, how he'll be rectified overnight, and his actions. I don't think most people even know what the background of the Shia Mahdi is. The fact that they are two completely separate people, and that B, from the lineage of the 12th Imams, he will be the offspring of the 11th Imam. So just establishing that basic fact first, because I think we're diving straight into the Shia Imam, what he does, and some narrations regarding him without establishing that for the benefit of the viewers. So he's from the lineage of the 11th Imam. Apparently, supposedly he was given birth to, but we know that there's very scant evidence regarding his existence to begin with. So we just quickly go over that bit before you go into the meat of the topic, inshallah.
I think Hassan's already covered that, to be honest.
Well, everybody who just joined now, well, he needs to watch the video later, obviously. This is I'm not saying it's an advanced topic, but yes, you should have some basic knowledge. You have to understand at the very least that there's no doubt that our understanding from Mahdi differs. As a matter of fact, from their understanding, from the 12th Shia understanding. In fact, Ali mentioned even the title Mahdi, more than two ahadith, that are strong. One of them is criticized. There's not much about the Mahdi. Even his title, Al-Mahdi, it's not 100% confirmed, which is not a problem, by the way. Ali and brother Abu Mahdi, you guys probably, because let's relax the situation a bit. A few days ago, you saw this this Shi'i polemicist Hassan al-Qadri, who is running away from me. He's scared to debate. I don't like to use the word scared, but come on, we've tried so much, and we try more, inshallah. We've got to try more. So he wrote a few days ago. I don't know if I can show it, but let me read. He said, because it's important, you know, that's some basic stuff. Let's start with some basics again. He said, there's no point in Sunnis believing in the Mahdi. You may ask why. Well, from Sunni books, you do not have enough information about the Mahdi to know who he is when he reappears. All we know is that his name is either Ahmed, Muhammad, and his father is called Abdullah. Ya Mahdi. Yeah, the thing is, so look at the logic. Look at the logic of these people. They say, oh, you don't have a lot of hadith about Mahdi, so there's no point in believing in him. Well, we have, the thing is, some of them even go further then. They say, oh, look, they have more hadith even about the Dajjal. Well, yeah, Jahili, we have also more information about the Shaitan. So what? So what? So what that there's not much information about the Mahdi? Let me bust this bubble. Brothers who are here present, viewers, brothers and sisters, non-Muslims, go open the Quran. If you're an Arabic speaker, read it in Arabic. If you're a non-Arabic speaker, read the translation. If the belief in 12 imams, it's a matter of salvation. This is not just a matter of imam, because the 12ers always say, well, imama is in Quran. Imama is somehow in the Quran. Look, Allah appointed Ibrahim and Fulan prophet. Allah appointing prophets and imama, guidance, as in very general sense. We are not anarchists, are we? In that sense, it's in the Quran. But is the 12er version, the 12er narrative of imama in the Quran? No. Is there the Mahdi in the Quran? No. Nowhere. Do you know why? Now, some people might, you know, sometimes people who fall into logical fallacies, they reply to questions with questions. Or sometimes people then say, oh, where's Abu Bakr in the Quran clearly? Or Umar and so on. Yeah, exactly. Abu Bakr is not in the Quran, and Umar is not in the Quran, and Ali is not clearly in the Quran, and the 12 Imams, let alone the 12 Imams, because none of them are the foundations of the deen. None of them are pillars. Now, don't get me wrong, believing in everything that is sahih comes to us. If you believe in narration sahih, you have to accept it. And most scholars of Ahlul Sunnah, by the way, is ikhtilaf. A minority of Ahlul Sunnah don't even believe. They say the Mahdi and someone that they weaken those ahadith, or the authentic ones haven't reached them, or whatever the case. The majority of the scholars of Ahlul Sunnah believe in the Mahdi, and he's one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah, and that's it. And the Prophet exactly told us what to do. He taught us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what to do when the Dajjal comes, what verses to read, what adhkar to read, and so on and so forth. So the reason there is not many narrations about the Mahdi is simple, just like there is not many ayat, in fact zero, about the Mahdi. And then please allow me to do this one. I want to show you guys something, and please tell me if you can see it if you can see it. Can you see this? Because today we want to talk, as far as I understood, this is Baqiyatullah. Baqiyatullah. This is a good example to make everybody, even the layman, understand how desperate 12ism and their polemicists and propagandists and scholars are. This is Baqiyatullah. If you were to ask any Hafiz from Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Somalia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, he would know this surah, he would know this word, he would know that this is from the verse 8, the 86th verse from Surah Noor, from Surah Hud, from Surah Hud. Baqiyatullah is a word, two words really, from Surah Hud. طيب. بقية الله خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين وما أنا عليكم بحافظ. طيب. بحفيظ. طيب. The translation, and all my people, give full measure and weight in justice. and reduce not the things that are due to the people, and do not commit mischief in the land, causing corruption. That's verse 86. That which is left by Allah is better for you. Baqiyatullahi khayrun lakum. Baqiyatullahi khayrun lakum. That which is left by Allah is better for you if you are believers. Is my screen gone? Shall I not? Again, that which is left by Allah is better for you if you are believers, and I am not a guardian over you. Baqiyatullahi khayrun lakum in kuntum mu'mineen wama ana alaykum bihafidh. This is verse 86 in Surah Hud. What is it about? It's about Shu'aib, Prophet Shu'aib, prohibiting the people from cheating in business by decreasing the weights whenever they gave products to people. He commanded them to give just measure in weight, whether they were giving or receiving in transaction. He also forbade them from causing mischief and corruption in the land. This was due to the practice of highway robbery, and so on and so forth. So it's a verse about transaction, transaction, business, dealing, not cheating, and so on. Correct? Now check this. Brother Noor, and everybody can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Now check
We
this.
can hear you. Loud
Now
and
I
clear.
explain. Now two words, Baqiyatullah. They have nothing to do with imama or with leadership or with infallible imams. Now check this. This is this is just one example. Look at this. Ya Fatimah Arifini. Some Zindiq with the name Fatimah Arifini. At 12, he wrote, Baqiyatullah, i.e. the Mahdi. Baqiyatullah, i.e. the Mahdi is best for you if you would be believers, but I'm not a guardian over you. Do you understand? Do you understand? A religion, a sect that takes two words from the Quran, Baqiyatullah. Baqiyatullah. Baqiyya, what is left. Baqiyatullah, but not literally as in what is left of Allah, but what is left as in when you are as believers dealing transactions, don't cheat, and so on and so forth. They took this and they say what? Oh, Baqiyatullah is the 12th Imam because he is the last Hujjah. He is the final Imam of the Imams, the last Hujjah on earth. Without him, the mission of the Prophet is not completed, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is what the Zanadiqa, the scholars, utter of kufr in their books. The likes of Khomeini said in his books that the mission of the Prophet ﷺ was not complete. He failed in a way. In a way, he failed, Khomeini famously said, because the Mahdi is going to finish the mission. But what can you expect from a religion and a sect where the greatest Eid is not the Eid something to do with the Prophet ﷺ or worshipping Allah? The greatest Eid is when his cousin was appointed, Eid al-Qadiyah. The whole Risala, the whole prophethood of the Prophet is crystallized and summarized in the wilayat, and the divine rulership of his cousin. A religion that is summarized not in the worship of Allah and everything is about Allah. This is Sunnism. Sunnism is قال الله وقال الرسول قال الله وقال الرسول. Every Jum'ah you give, you have Allah said and His Messenger. Allah said, because this is the narrative of the Quran. Because the Quran is supportive of Ahlul Sunnah. Because Ahlul Sunnah is based on the Quran. Their narrative is imams. If there is some lip service, that's what we call lip service. When they say, but our books say and our scholars say that the Prophet is superior than Ali and the Mahdi, that's just lip service. In practice, they are not. And that is why in practice, even the shirk doesn't revolve around the Prophet. Some extremist sects, the shirk revolves around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They call the Prophet for help and so on and so forth. Some extremist sects, whereas the 12 the shirk even revolves around mainly Ali, Hussein, Mahdi, and so on. So this is just one example to explain to you guys that they have. By the way, may Allah bless this brother. I don't know where he is, brother Muslim. He was very active Arabic and English speaker on Twitter next year. He sent me this. It was me and him, and I retweeted it about this Ya Fatimah that how they take words from the Quran and play with them that have nothing to do with imama. And this is by the way, before I let you brother speak, this is called Batini Tafsir. This is evil esoteric tafsir. Yes, the Quran has deeper meanings, but this type of Batil Tafsir, to take a verse that has nothing to do with your specific belief that you are superimposing on the Quran. And then what belief? A belief that they believe is a asl min al-usul, from the foundational belief of all foundations, i.e. it's related to imamah. The 12th imam is the final imam of the 12th imam. They take two words from the Quran, baqiyatullah, what is left of Allah, as in the verse speaks about transaction, to be fair and just and not cheat. They take such a verse about business and then they apply it to the 12th imam. This is desperation pure, and I could go on and on and on, Imam. And your turn, brothers.
Okay. Barakallah feek, Hassan. Abu Mahdi, you with us? No?
Abu Mahdi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you
Yeah,
fine.
I'm here, sorry.
Yeah, here
I'm here,
I
bro.
muted it now.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. But Mahdi, maybe now's a good time to elaborate on what Hassan mentioned earlier on about the tweet.
Sorry, you referred to the tweet by Hassan Qadri.
Right.
Sorry, you're cutting out again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we know, well, most people who are involved in Shia Sunni polemics know of an individual named Hassan Qadri who's quite active on Twitter, and he put something on Twitter recently regarding the concept of the Shia Mahdi and how there's so little information about him in Sunni sources that there's no point even believing in him. And then, because ours are so detailed and ours are so full of, details from left, right, and center, we have a much more credible source of believing in the Mahdi. Our Mahdi is basically much more credible than yours, because we have a lot more descriptions in there regarding him. I mean, it's just who's engaged with him knows that he's a master of straw man arguments and red herrings. I mean, this is just it's such a ridiculous argument to begin with. So, firstly, it's not a pillar of our faith. So whether we have loads of details about him or no details about him, it's irrelevant to our overall salvation. It's only they transpose the importance of their Mahdi onto ours. So when they transpose they kind of transpose their aqidah upon ours and their priorities onto our priorities, then it seems like a huge deal, and then they make it out like it's a big deal that way. So I mean, it's really funny. It's like, so he says what we know about his appearance is that he'll have a big forehead, so maybe he will probably need a size 8.5 when buying a cap, and he's referring to the Sunni Mahdi, the few small details about him that we have. And then he goes on. So the Mahdi found in Sunni literature is too vague. If you depend on Sunni hadith to find the Mahdi when he appears, then you'll have a very hard time finding him or identifying him. And it's just tons of red herrings, and it's really funny. So in regards to this, the way to address this, we say that is that, look, firstly, we don't have a huge amount of importance on, like I mentioned earlier, it's not a critical part of our aqidah whether we believe in him or not. We do believe in him because he is referred to in authentic hadith, and he has been, an established part of the Sunni corpus and our theology from way back. But it doesn't hold the same importance to us as it does with them. So whether we have lots of descriptions or whether we have small amount of descriptions, it doesn't matter. Secondly, the Shia having more descriptions doesn't necessarily mean they are more truthful descriptions. Again, this goes back to a larger topic of the veracity and the authenticity of Shia hadith works. in comparison to the authenticity and veracity of Sunni hadith works. So just because you have loads and loads and loads of narrations written by so-and-so, Ibn Majhul, Ibn so-and-so, Ibn, Zindiq or whatever, it does not matter. It really doesn't matter if each of those narrations fails to fall through to be filtered by even basic authentication protocols that's the Sunni scholarly method holds. So yeah, I just want to see what Hassan has to say about this as well, and what else he can lend to this argument and in a response to those bunch of tweets.
طيب, as mentioned, as you correctly stated, Barakallahu Feek, having more narration doesn't mean anything. There's more ayat, a lot of details, a lot about shaitan. Even how, that of course not that he was an angel, but how he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's information about him before even we were created. Doesn't mean anything. And of course we don't undermine, as I said, everything that is a sign of Qiyamah, and believing in the Mahdi is one of the signs of Qiyamah, has its importance. But think about this, and this is the problem they are confronted with us. Think about this rationally. Any aql, any person of intellect who has studied the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, any aql, will he extract from it the belief in Mahdawiyya? Because you need to understand, they have innovated a belief system, a cultish belief system, which is called Mahdawiyya. And many Sunnis are not aware of this. They think that the 12s believe in a different Mahdi and others, and that's it. No. They believe in a cultish concept called Mahdawiyya, which comes with a baggage of innovative rituals and beliefs. A few days ago, I made a thread. I made a thread on Twitter, and I explained a lot of these hilarious and often hilarious, yes, and heretical, shocking rituals. I know, where shall I start? They have in their top books of dua, like Mafatih al-Jinan, they have du'as attributed to the Ahl Bayt, which one dua is called Salatul Istighatha bi Imam al-Zaman bil Mahdi. The dua that they have where they do sujood 500 times to Fatimah, Salatul Istighatha, Salatul Istighatha bil Zahra. They have a similar, not exactly the same, but similar to the Mahdi, where you invoke and pray and beg the Mahdi for help. In their everyday life, they invoke and pray to him and beg him for help. They have rituals where they, subhanallah, ziyarat of the sirdab. They have, and if you think that I'm cracking a joke, I'm not cracking a joke. They have actual adab. You know how we have adab, how you visit the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you're in Medina, you say salaam alaikum to the Prophet, you say salaam alaikum to Abu Bakr, and then you move on. You don't lick the grave, and you don't ask him for help, and you don't lick the grave of Abu Bakr and ask Abu Bakr for, yeah, Abu Bakr, but that help me. This doesn't. We are Muslimin, alhamdulillah. They have adab. Listen carefully. Listen. They have adab of how to visit the sirdab, the basement of the 12th one. They literally go down. There's even this video of this Qadri, how he goes down, puffing, he's going down the steps, celebrating, and here's the funny thing. You see, the mushrikun always fall into contradictions. Kif, you may ask, what do you mean? How do they fall into contradictions? Tanaqufat. Think about this, brothers. They give all these superpowers to their saints. Yeah, just like Nasara and other people who have exaggerated with the creation. The Mahdi is, the Mahdi controls the earth, call upon Ali, he is the Nadi Ali and Madhar al-Ajab, call upon Ali, he is the one who makes all these wonders, call upon Mahdi, he will help you. Yet at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, they've narrated that the 12th man, the Mahdi was running. He was running, was fleeing from Bani Abbas, who wanted to slaughter him, apparently. Recently, some of the scholars in Iran and speakers said, please make dua for the Mahdi. Maybe he got coronavirus, Maybe he got coronavirus.
Hey,
No,
Hassan, I heard. Wait, hold on, Hassan. I heard that some of these people have like SMS boards, like where they text message like their du'a to like the al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar, like when he's like in the cave, or some people, if some women even bring like plates of food and like they leave plates of food for him to eat, like he's in a.
This is a whole industry, though, isn't it?
I will actually, from someone that actually has lived in Samarra and seen this firsthand. This is whack. They actually hand out pamphlets to these awar, you know. زيارة السرداب المقدس.
Yeah. Look, this on a serious note. We are not using anything that is not part and parcel of their creed and their rituals. Allah is my witness, and if I'm lying, they can right now make a video against me. In their culture, in Shia culture, according to the advice of the scholars, one should make dua to Allah to protect the Mahdi, whom they call for help. Can you understand? They make dua, they literally call it Allahumma kun li waliyak حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى أبوئه في حوز السوعة وفي كل السوعة وليا وحافظا وناصرا وقائدا. Look, I still remember all these khurafat. This is hey, listen, this is called, there's no joke. This is dua al-faraj. They call it dua al-faraj. This is the short version, which is sunnah according to their religion, to say after prayer. Because of course, guys, you know, it's sunnah of Rasulullah after his prayer to make dua for Allah to protect the 12 imam.
But Tarawih is bid'ah.
Maskhara. A religion of maskhara. Wallahi, when maqamat, look, atabat al-alawiyah. Atabat al-Hussein fi Karbala, Atabat al-Alawiyah in Najaf. All these buildings and shrines that were built 60 plus years after the Prophet after the religion was completed. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. Allah said, today I've completed your religion. These people say, no. This shrine that was built 60 years later, the shrine was built even more, 100 years later. This building, this temple in the name of Al-Hussein that was built 60, 70, 80, 90 years later, visiting it has the reward of visiting, of going to Hajj, 10 Hajj, 100 Hajj, 100 Umrah, million Umrah, and so on and so forth. Anyway, one last thing.
Let me ask you a question, Hassan. Let me ask you a question. So, look, I've heard things about, I've read some things about like this so-called Shia, Shia Mahdi, and about, like, for example, and I want to know if this is true. Like, if he's going to be, apparently he's going to be speaking Hebrew, and he's going to be like following the laws of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, and like apparently he has his own sharia, and like he's going to be, and so I guess in some ways, like you see how he's trying to reinvent this entire religion. Keeping that in mind, with that in mind, is there any similarities between that and like the Dajjal, like al-Masih ad-Dajjal? I mean, if you're trying to reinvent the whole religion and bring something new that we're not familiar with, that's exactly what Al-Masih ad-Dajjal is going to do, right?
No, the thing is, if you're going to go into this, I will get into this if we have time, inshallah. But allow me, before I get into how he's going to, you're correct. You're generally speaking correct. What you have heard is generally speaking correct. But it's actually worse than what you have heard. It's actually worse. According to the narrations, let me just give a hint.
Before we go there, Hassan, I'll let you go ramble about that in a bit. I just want to divert us back to what we initially intended.
That's what I wanted to do.
In terms of comparing the 12th Imam, the narrations of the 12th Imam to the Dajjal, what do we have here? Leaving, what we're going to get into shortly, all the massacres, the killings and torture. But in terms of him specifically with the Dajjal, what are the similarities? Because by the end, we want to conclude, is it fair to call him the Dajjal?
First of all, according to us, and according to Zaydis, and according to other all non-12ers,
Right, he doesn't exist.
he doesn't even exist. He was never born in the first place. Now here's the thing: when you say this, then the masakin, the gullible people who have fallen for 12ism, they say, "Wait a second. If you say that he was never born, then why do you call him Dajjal? Then why do you say this and that?" Yeah, masakin, now look at you. Yes, someone might not exist in reality, but you have been brainwashed with a narrative of him that very much fits the description of the Dajjal. So some Sunni researchers like myself, they say that the description of the 12th one, not word for word, of course, because then we will have one smart panties who will come and say, but look, this is not exactly the same like the Dajjal. Not every single attribute and characteristic is the same, but there are certain characteristics that are barbaric, sadistic, and they resemble someone that the Jews and the defeated Sasanian Majus are hoping and awaiting. That is why, Ali, allow me, I wanted to read the first narration of my article. Allow me to read this, and then let's see how the shock is going to go down your spine. Listen to this. When the Persians were defeated at Al-Qadisiyah, which is Al-Qadisiyah is in Iraq today. However, the Persians, they occupied many lands. They occupied Yemen back then. Forget about Iraq. When the Persians were defeated at Al-Qadisiyah in Iraq, Yazgird ibn Shahryar, that was the last king. Yazgird ibn Shahryar, the last king of the Sasanian Majus, the evil oppressor, the coward, like a coward. When he was defeated, he fled. By the way, I'm an Iranian myself. I'm not self-hating. Iran is a beautiful country. We have autumn and winter, everything at the same time. It's a beautiful country. However, bad is bad. Just like an Asian person, Pakistani person doesn't hesitate to attack Ghulam Ahmed, who died on the toilet having diarrhea and whatnot. Same as the Arab has no problem attacking Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab. And
hey, be kind. It was his birthday recently. He's still the birthday boy.
So me, as someone from Iran, I have no problem to call out oppressors and tyrants that are Iranians, like Khomeini the Kafir Zindiq, Majlisi the Zindiq, or Yazgird ibn Shahryar, who was so humiliated after defeat at the hands of the Sahaba. He fled. He fled from Iraq, modern day Iraq, to other towns, and everywhere he was chased away by his own people. Anyway, when the Persians were defeated at Al-Qadisiyah, and Yazgird ibn Shahryar, the last king of the Sasanian Empire, was informed about that, and that Rustum, his main general, was captured by the Sahaba, radiallahu anhum. He thought that Rustum and the Persians are all perished until someone informed him about the Battle of Al-Qadisiyah and about the loss of 50,000 Majusi soldiers against the Sahaba. 50,000 of them they lost against the Sahaba. Upon that, Yazgird fled to his household, to his Ahl al-Bayt. This is the real Ahl al-Bayt they believe in. Yazgird fled to his household and stood in front of the gates of Al-Iwan. You know what Al-Iwan is? Al-Iwan is the massive qasr, the massive palace of the Sasanians, of Yazgird the second, this one, Yazgird ibn Shahryar, that it's in Madain, it's south of Baghdad. The remains of it can still be seen. And look at Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar al-Faruq, and look at Uthman, and look at Ali bin Abi Talib, this real man, not man, just real man and real pious and modest man by name and by claim. In action, where are the remains of the palaces of Abu Bakr? Where are the remains of the palaces of Umar, Uthman, Ali? They are no. You know why? Because they never built them in the first place. Because they were humble and buried like humble men. Anyway, when this Yazgird saw that that's it, the Sahaba, 50,000 of the Persian Majus soldiers were killed and defeated, he went onto the gates of his palace in Al-Iwan, and then he said this. Listen carefully, very important. Yazgird said, Peace be upon you, O Ivan. This is where I'm going to leave you and where I will meet you again. Me or a man of my progeny. Suleiman Delamy, some zindiq and the zanadiqa who attributed this nonsense to Ahl al-Bayt, entered upon Abi Abdullah Jafar al-Sadiq and asked him about that. I asked, what does he Yazgir the third? Sorry, is Yazgir the third? What does he mean with a man of my progeny? He, Imam al-Sadiq, said, it's none other but one who is the arising one. The 12th one.
Subhanallah.
Wait. By the will of Allah, the 6th from the progeny of my father, Yazgir has given him birth. Yazgir has given him birth. He is his father. Bihar al-Anwar, volume 51, page 164.
Now there is some truth to that about
1 second. Just one. Let me finish. This is why I titled my article, which I'm going to make a book, inshallah. Now that I see that so many pages, worth a book. That's why I titled it The Spawn of the Sasanian Majus. The 12th Imam, let me put it in a short as I can. The 12th Imam, and Allah is my witness, is nothing but the wet dream of the defeated Sasanian Majus and the Yahud of Khaybar. And if you want evidence, wallahi, we need to do a series. The brother here asked, Brother Mort asked about, is it true that he's going to speak Hebrew? Speaking Hebrew, brother? He is going to slaughter, according to the narrations, he is going to slaughter all Arabs, except very few. And guess who's going to be his main aid? The Persians and the Jews.
From Isfahan, right?
That anyway, that's a Sahih Muslim. But now I'm not talking about that. I'm according to the narrations, the main corpus body of his followers and supporters are going to be the Persians and the Jews as well, and the Arabs will get slaughtered. Sometimes
Wait,
the
so they
12
don't
is come.
think he's going to be of Arab origin then? If he's from Yazgird?
Habibi. This game, you should be beyond this level now. This game that, wait a second, but his name is Mahmoud and he has a black turban. So he's a Sayyid, he claims Hashim. This is a game to fool the gullible, because what way better to destroy Islam, to purge into Islam, to distort Islam in the name that Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. So of course, if you ask them, they will say he is Arab and he's a descendant and he is the son of Askari. And the Shemrani is reading this narration from Bihar al-Anwar. It's probably weak or whatnot. It's not about weakness, bro. This narration includes everything. From it, you can extract the habit, the grudge they have. Taking this narration next to the other narrations that they undoubtedly authenticate, you will see a pattern. What is this pattern? You will see a uqdah. And you're an Arab, you know what uqdah means. The best translation is, I think, obsession.
Yeah.
You will see a form of obsession, deep hatred against Arabs. And that is why, according to the narrations, by the way, we have narrations as well, that at the end of the time, the Arabs, this and that, the Prophet warning them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't conflate this. Nobody think, I'm not a beginner. You should be careful if you even want to refute this video. I know about all of that. The narrations they speak about that all Arabs going to get slaughtered, except the few are subservient to the Persians, except the few. And guess who he will start with? With Quraysh. He will start slaughtering Quraysh, and he will revive Abu Bakr and Umar, crucify them. He will burn them and blow their ashes, and he will give had of zina to Aisha. This is all in the books.
This is better than Hollywood, bro. This is like Star Wars stuff.
This is all in their books. Now, Brother Mort and your viewers, Brother Abu Mahdi, Abu Noor, Abu Fatimah, I give you now the time. But ask yourselves, their viewers, when you type, as I said, on Google, when you type, the 12th Imam, the Mahdi, if you watch the generic lectures they make, the 12th Imam is someone is bringing peace to the world. They're not going to tell you this stuff. They're not going to tell you this stuff here. You know why? I tell you why. I used to be one of them. Well, I tell you in your face why. Because they know you're not going to do research. Because they know that most people fall for generic nonsense. Most people tick something on their WhatsApp and look how nice. Look, he wears a green shimagh, Mahdi. Oh, ajal, 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 Allahu, ajal, Allah. That's enough for them. But this time is over. This is now the time, our time, alhamdulillah. It's the time of social media, internet, Ahlul Sunnah awakening. They will see that this shaitan, this barbarian, this anti-Arab bigot, this monster who doesn't exist in reality, yani a 12th one didn't exist in that form. However, a Dajjal will appear. That's why I have no doubt, and Ahlul Sunnah have no doubt, that one of the first followers of the Dajjal will be the 12ers themselves. Many of them, unfortunately.
Oh,
Why?
absolutely.
Because they already, because according to the characteristics in the books, and they already worship him, brother. They're
Their whole religion is emotionalism. If they're going to be emotionally manipulated, they'll be the first to follow Dajjal. They'll be like magicians.
Don't we have narrations? Don't we have narrations that Dajjal will come and revive people's parents? Yes or no? We have these narrations, yeah? That he will revive people's dads, relatives, or parents, and so on. طيب. Who will fall for Dajjal? People who only call on Allah, people who recite Ayatul Kursi, people who do Hifz of Quran, or people who, in the moment they have a problem, yani in shidda wa rakha, as the ulama say, the shirk of the Rafida is worse than the shirk of the mushrikeen. Because the mushrikeen, in shidda and rakha, in moments of dire, in moments of immense problems and where they really need help, they used to abandon their idols and use and their saints and call on Allah alone. But these people, these Lord, in the most important moments, you hear them, oh, Ya Ali, Ya Mahdi, Ya Mahdi, Ya Mahdi. So there's no doubt that they will be one of the first who will follow Dajjal. And ironically, their own narrations state that the majority of his followers, top followers especially, majority of the top followers, the elite will be Persians, and a group of Jews will follow them as well. And look at the majority of the Persians today. These people are followers of Mahdi. These people are people of Quran, people of Tawheed. And with all due respect, wallah, if Babak, Shahram, or anyone watching this, he will laugh himself. So if we are the people of Mahdi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. So you brought up a few things there, and I wanted to go into more detail about some of these narrations. Before we do that, obviously they're going to come back and say, this is from Bihar al-Anwar, thousands of Muslims, they are weak. So I want you to respond to that. Before you do, you mentioned about him being born from Yazdegerd, and I was trying to say there is some truth into that, because obviously Umar al-An married the daughter of Yazdegerd.
As it said, that's like historic, yes. This is,
royal Persian blood.
Yes,
in that.
Exactly. Yes.
So
what does this narration do in the books? What does a narration attribute? What does a narration where Yazdegerd takes pride that his son will come and take revenge against the Sahaba and the Arabs?
Ya Ali.
The grudge is clear. I think the grudge against the Sahaba is clear, and you can see who's being sided with. Subhanallah. Hassan, before we go there are other links to Zoroastrianism, to Persianism. Even, like, for example, many of his names. He carries many Persian names.
Yes. Shall I show you?
Yeah. Please do.
And while you're digging that up, I remember seeing like pictures of like the Majusi prophet and like the Imam of Mahdi. They believe they're Mahdi. And
by the way,
the same, like the same person, the same hand gestures, the same position.
Yeah. First of all, just a few days ago, Khamenei on his official Twitter, Facebook, congratulated everybody to Nowruz. In their religion, Nowruz is holy. But that's beside the point. Khamenei also, it's not because it's Khamenei, he didn't make it up, it's the belief of the religion. They believe that the Mahdi will appear on Nowruz. According to the books and narrations, the Mahdi will appear on Nowruz. What the heck is the significance of Nowruz, subhanAllah? What the heck? What on earth is the significance of Majusi
Wait,
Nowruz.
don't you jump over fire on Nowruz? Like,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but of course, yeah, Habibi, these people, these Zanadiqa, these Zanadiqa are not that dumb. They're dumb. They do always contradict themselves, but not that dumb. What they do, they always give it a thin guise of Islam, sprinkle. You know, like this guy, Turkish guy. What's his name? The Sultan. Yeah. They sprinkle some thin guise of Islam on it. You may ask, Kif, how? I'll tell you. They say, for example, no. With Nowruz, we don't mean the fire jumping and stuff. But Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, alayhi salam, he said in our narrations that the Arabs have forsaken Nowruz, and that it was a special day, and the covenant was taken. Allah, on that day, Allah asked mankind to worship Allah. Yawmul Ghadir was on Nowruz. The Prophet became a Prophet ﷺ on Nowruz, and all these khurafat. And who said it? They don't say Imam Babak alayhi salam said or Imam Shahram. They say Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam. That's the whole trick, brother. This is what Sunnis have to understand.
It's very similar to what Constantine did to Christianity.
Listen, but at this stage, Sunnis must finally understand and know the whole trick of Twelverism, Tashayyu. What is the whole trick? Come on, guys. The whole trick is that everything is attributed to As-Sadiq, Al-Baqir, As-Sadiq. What do you think what they do then? You think they're dumb? You think they say, oh yeah, Imam Bahram ibn Shahram ibn Piruz, the virus, he said that, Nowruz is holy. No. They say Jafar al-Sadiq, Qal al-Sadiq. So anyway, look at this. Names of the 12 Imam. You wanted to hear. An-Najm al-Thaqib is a book by Noor al-Tabrasi, the Zindiq, one of the top scholars. Listen to this. Noor al-Tabrasi says in An-Najm al-Thaqib, he said, apart from the never in the Quran or Sunnah proven 182 names and titles of the Shia Mahdi, they have attributed 182 names at least to him, according to one of the top scholars. And the funny thing is, among them is Friday, the clock, the owner of the white ball. Yeah, no doubt. Listen. This is from the book. I'm quoting from the book. I'm quoting from the book.
The clock.
I'm quoting now. An-Najm al-Thaqib by Noor al-Tabrasi, a top 12 scholar. He says, one of his names is Izad Shenas.
Oh, wow.
Persian Majusi. The one, and not everything that is Persian is Majusi. Sometimes they say, you see, look at Aqliya, they have some of them, and the polemicists, they have the aql of a little child. Of course, not everything that is Persian is Majusi. Maskhara. Imam Bukhari was Persian as well. Is he Majusi? Of course he's not. Anybody who is a Muslim who is upon Sunnah is not a Majusi. Simple as that. And anybody who is upon this batil and this zandaqa, even if his Arab blood is spilling out of his forehead, he's still a Majusi. Simple as that. Anyway, one of the names of the 12th one is Izad Shenas, the one who has knowledge about Izad. Do you know what Izad is? Izad is the new Persian form of Yazata. Yazata is originally an Avestan Majusi language adjective derived from the verbal root Yaz, to worship. So one of the names of the 12 was Izad Shenas. One of his names is Izad Nishan, the one who illustrates God. One of his Persian names, Majusi names, is Istade, the one who stands. Now wait, it gets worse. One of his names is Bahram. Bahram, it gets really worse. You know what Bahram means? You can ask any Iranian person who is well versed in Iranian Zoroastrian terminologies. Bahram is also a common Iranian name, boy name. Bahram, the Zoroastrian divinity, that is the hypostasis of victory. So Rafida can not only call upon the 12th Imam by yelling, Ya Mahdi adrikni, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. Now they can say, Ya Bahram adrikna, because it's one of his names.
They're calling them by Majusi deities? Is that
brother? And at-Tabrasi, as I just said, where is this?
No, but that's a deity name, a Majusi deity name?
Yes, and they say it's one of his titles, though. MashaAllah. Wait. Bande Yazda, the slave of Yazdan. I explained Yazdan. Yazdan is how Zoroastrians refer to the deities. Anyway, Parviz, a Persian male given name, meaning fortunate. Okay. Khajoste, another Persian name meaning Benedict, happy, and now this goes back to what? To the narration I read earlier. Remember, Ali, when you said, what if they say the narration of Bihar is weak? طيب, then why did this Zindiq Noor al-Tabrisi and his Najm al-Thaqib, why did he say that one of the names, his name is Khusro? You know what Khusro means? Khusro is the Persian form of Kisra. Kisra is the Arabized. Arabs, look, today most people think the Persian kings were called Kisras. Yeah, because in English we should say, but Kisra is the Arabized form of Khusro. طيب? And it's even a boy's name. Today, many Iranians name their sons Khosrow. Khosrow Parviz. It's very common. You've probably heard it, some of you. One of the names or titles of the 12th one is Khosrow. Khosrow is Persian form of the Arabized word Kisra, the king of the Zoroastrians. So he's the king of the Zoroastrians. So these are so we have here. Look, I when I did this tahqiq, I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Zoroastrian names he has. 9. And in Bihar al-Anwar, Yazdigerd saying, one of my progeny is going to come to you, you, the people of the Sahaba and stuff, he's going to take intiqam. He's going to take revenge from you.
Wow. So they probably have more names for Al-Mahdi than they do for Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Of course, 182. 182 they gathered. This one, this Zindiq, this At-Tabrasi. 182.
Okay, so Hassan, you've established the clear link between Persianism, Zoroastrianism, and their Mahdi.
Ali, please allow me just this one. Allow me this one.
Go for it.
Because it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's guys, this is not a comedy show, but it sometimes sounds like comedy because that's what Rafidism is about. It is so unbelievable. It is so unbelievable. It's so. I understand if someone is laughing and saying, "Oh, is this guy serious?" What can I do? I'm a human being. I have emotions. I'm not a robot. You know, it's so surreal. You ask yourself, "Is this a joke?" The reason you don't know this, brother, sister, Sunni, Shia, Jew, Christian, non-Muslim, is because in their propaganda of Mahdi is a peace bringer, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, alayhi salam, because they don't mention this stuff. So listen to this. Translation. Al-Mu'alla narrates from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Nowruz, listen to this. Nowruz is no other day, but the one we, the Ahlul Bayt, are awaiting the reappearance of Mahdi. For it is one of our days that was protected by the Persians and carelessly lost by you Arabs. Ad-Du'ali al-Imam al-Zaman. Here, wait, check, let me show you. This is not stuff that is weak. They print this stuff. They print these books. These are books of creed in relation to the 12th Imam. These are books of creed in relation to the 12th Imam. Here, Ad-Du'ali Imam al-Zaman. And this is in other books as well. And the scholars preach these things. Have you understood what I just read? Jafar al-Sadiq is rebuking the Arabs for forsaking Nowruz. because on that day, the Hajj, the 12th one is reappearing. And then they wonder, and they look like this, why do you call us Majus for? One of many evidences. But yeah. Sorry, Ali.
Yes. So what I was going to say was you've shown this link between them and the Majus, and they have been referred to the Majus by some of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah in the past, and this is not just a racist slur as it's often made out to be.
Absolutely not.
It have strong foundations. There is a.
I'm Iranian. I call them Majus. 100% Majus.
And there's a reason for it based on what some of the things Hassan said. Hassan, I want you to get to some of the narration. So the point I'm trying to make is this anti-Arab rhetoric, because you can see this strong Persian influence. And of course, the Arabs, the Muslims were mainly Arab during the time they conquered Persia. And you can see where this hatred for the Arab comes from. So Hassan, go for it, man. We want to hear what Mahdi going to do to the Arabs.
All right. First of all, in defense of my own people. And when I say own people, I include any Iranian from this land, whatever religion. Iranians are not a bad people, they are not evil, and they're not demonized. But there's a reality, there's a fact. What is the fact? The fact is that Islam entered Iran. One of the propaganda of the mullahs and Shias, and even ironically who's united with them are Iranian nationalists often, is that Iranians from day one love Tashayyu. They love Tashayyu and they wanted Ahlul Bayt. It's biggest lie, biggest lie. If that's true, then why was Iran 900 year majority Sunni? Most Iranians were upright, good people of Ahlul Sunnah for the majority of their Islamic history. Keep that in mind. However, that doesn't mean that all of them were good and righteous. Who was defeated? You have to, people who don't learn from history will always remain losers and will repeat the mistakes of history. Who was defeated? Who were the free powers that were defeated by the Muslims? Free powers were defeated. The Romans, the Nasara,
Romans, yeah.
the
Persian.
Yahud of Arabia, and the Persians.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to sit down and do nothing? Do you think they're gonna sit down and they're defeated and they're defeated and they're not? They will bring people like Abu al-Majusi, the first suicide murderer in a mosque. As many people don't know, the first person who did a suicide attack in a mosque. That was a suicide attack. He killed everybody, as many people as possible, including Umar al-Faruq anhu, and then he killed himself, stabbed himself. Suicide attacker. And he's a Shia saint. He's a saint in Shiism. The first terrorist and suicide attacker in Islamic history was a Shia Persian man. And
Hassan.
the reason I say yes.
Sorry, I think also the Shia also call him Baba Shuja ad-Din, right?
Yeah, of course. That's my point. When I say he's a Shia Persian man, the reason I say this is because he's revered in Shiism. So you think Abu Lu'lu is it? You think that's it? You think the Mu'amara, you think these attacks stop with Abu Lu'lu al-Majusi? You have to be naive. Do you know of the Kaysaniya? Do you know that the majority of early Shiite sects that mixed Zoroastrianism with Tashayyu, do you know that most of the followers were Persians from the upper class?
Yep.
Do you know that there's more than one early sect that claimed Tashayyu, and some of them openly mixed Zoroastrianism with Tashayyu, and some of them disguised it a bit more, like our friends the Twelvers. You know this? So this is a very important introduction that I make. It's not a blanket attack against all Iranians. For God's sake, I'm an Iranian myself. There's nothing wrong with these people. However, they were defeated. The evil upper class was defeated. The evil Hindu class, like a Hindu class Hindu case system, it worked. The Sassanians, they were defeated, and they tried to distort Islam again and again and again and again. And look at these narrations that Ali wants me to read now. Fine, let's read this. Now that we established that 3 big groups were defeated, and all of them started to their best to distort Islam. Ibn Saba, the name a Yahudi, and then the Majus, the Rafida. So listen to this now. The Rafidi Mahdi will be a sadistic, anti-Arab bigot. He will slaughtering Arabs left, right, and center. Narration number 1. Attributed to Imam Sadiq, Anas Sadiq. Imam Sadiq, all these zandaqa, all these heresies are obviously attributed to someone of the Ahl Bayt. That's the trick to fool the gullible. They have attributed to Imam Sadiq that he said, there will be nothing, I repeat, there will be nothing left between us and the Arabs except slaughter. He then demonstrated the slaughter with his hand at his throat. Baqir al-Majlisi, Bahar al-Anwar, al-Majlisi, volume 52, page 349. Now, Ali might say again, or some Shia viewer might say, it's okay. You have all the right to say, oh, probably that's weak. Yeah, but guess what? This is included in Kitab al-Ghaybah al-Nu'mani, which is a Shia book on Aqidah, on their 12 Imam. And this scholar has compiled things that are, even if not every single thing is authentic, the main theme, he's slaughtering the Arabs, all this stuff, is established according to them. Next one. On the authority of Abu Abdullah Jafar Sadiq, who says fear the Arabs, because there will be a very bad news for them, which is that now this is for you, Morty, which is that none from amongst them will come out with Al-Qa'im. This narration is even clearer. None of them. This one says not a single Arab person will support their version of the Mahdi. Bihar al-Anwar, volume 52, page 333 to 334. And this narration has been used as a proof by the scholars in Aqidah, such as in the books of Kitab al-Ghaiba and Nu'mani. And then I commented, I said, notice how the narration puts fear and hate into the hearts of the Shias in regards to the Arabs. Imam Sadiq's name, an Arab Muslim himself, you might think, and he is just being misused. As-Sadiq is just misused here. So you can have a justification to brainwash the masses. It's just being misused by the devils who fabricated those narrations, to give the anti-Arab bigotry a religious flavor. One more. Al-Muntazar, the awaited one, the Shia Mahdi, will walk around amongst Arabs and slaughter them. Yani bro, he will slaughter them so much that the narrations say, listen, it's all about the dhabh of Arabs. That's his mission. And look, these are important.
Is there any truth to this? Okay, so we talked about them resurrecting the Sahaba, right? Like
yes.
It really what happened. But I heard that there are also mentions where it's not just once, like twice and three times he'll resurrect them and like kill them again like three times just to make sure they're dead, like just to make sure like they're emphasized that they're dead. Have you read anything like that before?
Okay, they have gone into such extremes. This one here, look at this. This is, I printed it. This is from all my tahqiq, from my research. This is Ali al-Qurani, a Lebanese turban hat, a Lebanese Rafidi priest who resides in Qom. Look what he's very obsessed. He's a proper occultist. You know, many of these Khomeinis are occultist, conspiracy theorist nutters. So he's so obsessed with this 12th Imam thing. He wrote books on this issue. And he has one book, and in it he says, Fath al-Iraq ala yad al-Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. The conquest of Iraq at the hands of the Mahdi alayhi salam. He says, and on the authority of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, then he will head towards Kufa, the 12th Imam, and descend upon her and spill the blood of 70 tribes of the Arabs. Ala wasalan, Arab tribes of Kufa and Iraq. 70 tribes, not 70 man. Ya Abdul Zahra, Ya Abdul Hussein. 70 tribes there in Kufa will be this monster, this shaitan, this iblis, this reincarnation of Mao Zedong and Adolf Hitler and all the other evil people. He will spill the blood of 70 tribes of the Arabs. Where is this mentioned again? Weak hadith. Did Shemrani pick some weak narration from Bihar al-Anwar random? Kitab al-Ghaiba by
I just thought about something. Based on this narration, Chinggis Khan could have been their Mahdi. I mean, they walked in there and slaughtered all of Iraq. So, I mean, like, it's pretty much describing the Mongols.
Okay, please let me continue because now I'm in the mood. The Rafidi Mahdi will amputate the hands of a whole tribe. Listen to this. The Rafidi Mahdi will amputate the hands of a whole entire tribe and decorate the Kaaba with it. Did you hear? Let me repeat. The Mahdi, the peace bringer, when the earth is full of injustice, Imam Zaman will come and bring peace on this earth. Yeah, Mustad'afin. He's the peace bringer. Ahmadinejad, even in the UN. And you know, some of them say, but you believe in the Mahdi as well, don't you? Yeah, but not in the shaitan in your books. The shaitan in your books, the sperm of Yazgir III. I don't believe in the sperm of Yazgir III. I don't believe in him. You know why? Because of this. I asked, what is the first? Again, what about Miskeen Jafar al-Sadiq, wallahi. He will get a lot of hasanat yawm al-qiyamah because look how much they lied upon him. Again, attributed to Jafar al-Sadiq, of course. I asked Jafar al-Sadiq, what is the first thing the Qa'im will do after he rises? Guys, what is the first thing he do? Some people have a nice breakfast, yeah? Some people do this. He's going skiing, he's going to something, yeah? Listen to the first thing he's going to do. Maybe Salah, reading Quran. Maybe he's going to go to Qom and slap these Ayatollahs and tell them, learn proper Quran, learn Tajweed, you clowns. You have embarrassed us, subhanAllah. Will you do any of that? Yeah. Will you do any of that? Will you do any of that? No. I asked Jafar al-Sadiq, what is the first thing the Qa'im will do after he rises? The Imam alayhi salam said he will start with the Bani Shayba. The
Ooh.
Bani Shayba. He will cut their hands off because they are the looters of the house of Allah. Kamilu Ziyarat and Uyun Akhbal al-Rida. You know who the Bani Shayba are? I prepared something for you. You know who the Bani Shayba are? These brothers, these Masakin. Bani Shayba are an Arab tribe. They're an Arab tribe. You know what the sin is? You know what the only sin is? The Bani Shayba were one of the first tribes, like almost all Arab tribes, obviously, who gave Abu Bakr bay'ah. And since the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they are the key holders.
Yes.
They're the key holders of the Kaaba, the Bani Shayba.
Even till now, and look at
Yes, exactly. To this very day, the Bani Shayba, the descendants, are the key holders. You see, honoring, they get the key in the opening. You know what the 12th Imam will do to these guys? Forget about the king. You know, when somebody says, oh, this guy's from Al Saud. Okay, here, you don't like Al Saud? Here, Al Saud gone. Al Saud is gone. What is Masakin? What have they done?
He's so old. Look at him, like he was.
These Masakin and the descendants as well, of course, look like Christianity. They bear the sins of the forefathers. The 12th Dajjal, Shaitan, the Musarda boy, when he comes, he will not just slaughter them, he will slaughter them and hang their hands and then cut off their hands, and he will hang them like a Christmas tree on the Kaaba. I read another one. Imam Sadiq said, alayhi salam, when the rising Mahdi appears, he will demolish the Masjid al-Haram until it's restored to its original state. Then he will dismember, amputate the hands of Bani Shayba. Then he will hang their hands on the Kaaba, as well as writing on it, these are the hands of the thieves of the Kaaba. Al-Mufid in his Kitab al-Irshad, again a book of creed, and At-Tusi in his Kitab al-Ghaiba, again a book of, when I say creed, like their aqidah with regards to the 12 Imam. Look at this. He will amputate. Will they tell you these things? Will they tell you these things? Of course not. But listen, I don't blame them. As I mentioned, the reason they don't, because some might say, what do you mean? Today you can't hide anything. You Shemrani, you're putting these things out. So how can the 12 Shia scholars hide things? Hide as in not completely hide. Hide as in they know, they calculate things, man. They know that the majority of the people are not going to go after these things. They're not going to do research. So all we need to do, then, what they need to do, they think to themselves, we just fool the gullible. We're just telling them, man, he's very good. He's going to make peace on us. And as for these things, this monster Zadistic, who's really the wet dream of the Sasanian, defeated Sasanian Majus and the Yahuds of Khaybar, that's between us. That's between us and our circle. And this is what we're going to expose. So that nobody dares to come out. At least if somebody watches this, he can dislike us, hate us, curse me. So I don't give a monkey. I don't give a 12 Imam. The thing is, anybody who's watching this stuff will at least understand that, hey, things have changed, man. These people are pulling this stuff out from our books, not random narrations, weak narrations.
Hassan.
Stuff about Aqidah that our scholars have compiled. Yeah.
Though the Persians, prior to the Muslims invading Persia, they did view the Arabs as the incarnation of Shaitan, of evil.
Yeah, of course, that's known.
Yeah, I think they even call Kurds like half jinn, half humans. Like they have a problem with them too. But you know what I'm thinking about? Here's the funny thing, okay? I don't want to derail you, but I've heard people like this, the Marshmallow Man, what's his name?
Hassan.
Yeah. I was talking about, oh, look, the Sunnis bring out nothing but people like ISIS, right? They're radical people. And blah. Look at their version of Al-Mahdi. Like he's completely he's worse than ISIS.
He is death squads and militias exist because of the Shaitan. I can argue like this as well. Good?
Yeah.
You want a taste of your own? You want to have a taste of your own medicine? Let me give you a taste of your own medicine. You say that Daesh and Qaeda and all these people who are refuted left, right, and center by all types of Sunnis, by Salafis, by Asharis, and so on. You say that they're the result of Hadith corpus of Bukhari and a Muslim? Then your Shia militias and whatnot, which is a lie anyway. Then undoubtedly your militias are death squads and whatnot are based on these narrations here that say that he he will slaughter Arabs left, right, and center. He will amputate their hands, decorate the Kaaba with amputated hands. He will start with Quraysh. I haven't even finished.
This is like satanic rituals, like hanging body parts and like I think it's disgusting.
Who knows this? Who knows this stuff? This is akhi. You know what's bro? These things are not hidden even. This is book. The scholars have collected these things and put it in there. You would have thought that, or probably the scholars, they constantly weaken this type of narratives. No. They wrote it in the books of Ghaiba, the books of occultation, about the qualities of him and what he will do and what he will not do. They don't even deny this stuff. They might deny it in the face of some miskin and gullible and not so knowledgeable Sunni, but amongst themselves on their websites and stuff, they don't deny even this stuff. No problem. Adam Salan, you're free. Don't deny this stuff. And it's our freedom to expose this stuff. Are you?
Abu Mahdi, any words you'd like to say?
Salawat. I mean, pretty much all covered, I think. Alhamdulillah.
Let me go through a few more narrations. Let me finish this hard narrations.
Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Let me finish these narrations. Check this out. This is from a Sistani affiliated website. If you think that I get things from thin air, this is from a Sistani affiliated website. Check this out. It gets even worse. The Imam alayhi salam, it's a narration where it's a fatwa board. It's a fatwa board, based on Sistani's narrations, fatwas. Here they explain and say, and the website is called m-mahdi.com. There is a travel website, all about the Mahdi. It's not our website. I quoted from their own websites where they're experts, where they do research on the narrations. Look what they say. They say, the Imam, peace be upon him, the 12th one, will not only dismember, amputate their hands of the Bani Shayba, rather he will order the people to do tawaf around them, the Kaaba, whilst the Kaaba is decorated with amputated hands. It has been narrated on the authority of Abu Abdullah as-Sadiq alayhi salam, peace be upon him, who said, when the Qa'im, rising Mahdi, rises, he will get hold of them, this Bani Shayba, tribe of Arab, ancient Arab tribe. The crime is that they're Sunnis. The Bani Shayba, and amputate their hands and do tawaf around the Kaaba. So the Mahdi, the Shaitan, the Iblis, their version was really Dajjal. This Dajjal, in this horror movie, 12 horror movie, when he will come, he will cut off the hands of this Arab tribe, decorate the Kaaba with it, and then he will tell the people, Yallah, do tawaf.
Crazy.
Tawaf.
Crazy.
Next one, on the authority of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, when the Qa'im is a title they often give to the 12th one. It means the one who rises. When the Qa'im emerges, there will be nothing left between him and the Arabs. And this one has an addition to it. And the Quraysh. Look, they're so thirsty. You see the hiqd, this Majusi, Sasanian hiqd, grudge, is so deep. They couldn't just leave it with that he will slaughter Arabs in general. They needed more and more and more. So this version says that when the Qa'im emerges, there will be nothing left between him and the Arabs and the Quraysh, except the sword. The only thing between him and the Arabs and the Quraysh is the swords. Notice how the Quraysh are being mentioned separately. Prophet Muhammad's tribe, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who in the masses are what? What are the masses of the Quraysh, the majority of them? Sunnis. Next one, on the authority of Abi Ja'far, Imam Baqir this time, who said, as mankind realizes what is going to be, listen, they know that, this is interesting now, pay attention, they know that their horror version of the Mahdi is so shocking, so they needed to somehow justify it. So listen to this one, on the authority of Imam Baqir, father of As-Sadiq, Muhammad al-Baqir, who said, as mankind realizes what is going to be done by Al-Qa'im, when he appears, most people would prefer not to see him.
Peekaboo.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Hilarious, wallahi. One thing we have to thank the Rafda for one thing, the scholars and the Warwat and narrators throughout history. Yeah, this is
creative.
Bollywood, Nollywood stuff. As mankind realizes what is going to be done by Al-Qa'im, the Shia Mahdi, when he appears, most people will prefer not to see him because of the killings he will do to mankind. To mankind. He will slaughter mankind. It makes most mankind say, listen, this is attributed to Imam Bakr. It will make most mankind say, he's not from the house of Muhammad. He's not from Al Muhammad. If he were from the house of Muhammad, he would certainly have compassion. Subhanallah. Yani their own narration states, and the source is Kitab al-Ghaiba by An-Nu'mani, this is Zindiq. So their own source states, because you see, they knew that some people who have still half brain left among the followers, they would say, wait a second, slaughter, Arabs, and all Quraysh and stuff. We can't sell him really as a, and I say, yeah, well, people will think it like that, but you know, the Imam said so, so you have to believe. The Imam said so, you have to believe.
So, yeah, Hassan, I mean, our question is, why would they include this in their books?
Well, I just explained that. I said the reason they included it in their books is because even they know that it's so shocking. However, Imam Bakr said so. Imam Bakr said so. The people are saying this. You have to understand 12 mentality. To them, Imam said, Ta'a wa sama. The Imam said that even if it all sounds dodgy, sorry?
Because the Imam is ma'soom.
Obviously. The Imam said, so you asking why did they include it in there? Because like if one of them has a doubt, so they can refer them to this narration, this fabrication, and say, but look, even at the time of Imam Bakr, some people had doubts. Are you like the doubters of Imam Bakr alayhi salam? Fear the Imam, he can see you. Next narration, on the authority of Abi Abdullah alayhi salam. When the Qa'im from the family of Muhammad arises, he will resurrect 500 from Quraysh. That people. He will resurrect 500 from the Prophet, that people from the Prophet's tribe, and cut off their necks. Then another 500, until he does this action 6 times. Have you counted? Anybody good at maths? You don't need to be good at maths to know 6 times 500. This is in Al-Mufid's Irshad. Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, another one. How many of those, this is now interesting, who is going to be his followers? Now the question will arise, Tayyib, he's slaughtering so much, who's going to be his follower, you may ask?
Oh, did you say 6 times or 60 times?
6 times. 6 times 500. In Al-Mufid's Irshad. Now you might ask, then who on earth is his follower? Come on, Shemrani. Come on, Ibn Hussein. Somebody must follow him. The whole time they say they're his followers, they love him, they call upon him. Who's his follower? Right, listen to this. Nu'mani, this is from the Zindiq, is Kitab al-Ghaiba, a book about, I said the book was written so the average 12 understands what this 12 monster is about. The thing is, most of them even don't read. But anyway, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq said, how many of, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq was asked, how many of those who accompany the Qa'im are Arabs? Hey, Morty, listen, this is for you. Jafar al-Sadiq was asked, how many of those who accompany the Qa'im are Arabs? Jafar al-Sadiq said, very few. Very few. Then someone said, but numerous are the Arabs who profess this cause. Even imagine, even a Zindiq back then, who made up the fabricated stuff, said, but there's a number of us who believe in you. And Jafar al-Sadiq said, people will invariably be chosen, separated. Many are those who will fall through the sifter. Yani subhanallah, even the Zindiq, even the Zanadiqa at that time, they said, yeah, Jafar al-Sadiq, but the ones who fabricated this nonsense, because what was their aim? The aim was to slaughter all Arabs. But they were always, and they are still today, they are Masakin Arabs who profess Shia belief. They're thinking because Imam Ali was an Arab, what do you mean? Imam Ali is an Arab. But he's portrayed like a Persian tranny. He's drawn like a Persian tranny. He's giving all these, the Ahl-Bayt are giving all these Majusi characteristics. That's just Arab by name. It doesn't even matter if they're Chinese or Arab. We are not nationalists. But the thing is, they have Persianized them in the worst form possible.
Into demigods.
I.e., into demigods. Imam Muhammad Baqir said that all, the 313, you guys are, 313. You know how they are obsessed with the number 3 of 313. There's Zanadiqa, they're Bataniya, just like some extremist Sufis. 786, Bismillah, 110 is Ya Ali Madad. If you didn't know, now you know. when they write 110, 110 stands for Ya Ali Madad. Yeah. So, yeah, no joke. Especially in
911, is that Mahdi come out? What is it?
yeah. No, Ali, Ya Ali Madad.
No,
110.
911. Mahdi come out?
110 is like a dial code. Yeah, Zindiq Batani dial code. This number games. This is shaitan, all from shaitan.
It's
So
like
anyway,
almost.
yeah, exactly. This is Kabbalists and esoteric sects. They always play around with these names. Oh, look, there's 12 months in the Quran and there's 12 imams. Yeah, طيب, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the name of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq has 12 letters. Salawat. Abu Bakr is infallible imam. You can check it at home. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq in Arabic has 12 letters. Anyway, they're obsessed with the number 330, right? And now some people might think, oh yeah, because it's a Badr, they have respect for the Sahaba of Badr and the number of the Shuhada of Badr. They don't care about Sahaba. They don't care about Sahaba, man. They have narrations where it speaks about that it has something to do with Sahaba, but the real reason they are obsessed with 313, and you always see their usernames, 313 and what, is because of this. Listen, Imam Muhammad Baqir said that all 313 companions of the Qur'an are the sons of Persians, Ajabs. Kitab al-Ghayb by Nu'mani, chapter 20, page 448. And then remember, in other narrations, the Arabs can expect nothing but ish, but what? Nothing but slaughter. And not a single of them will be spared. Fear the Arabs, because there will be very bad news for them, which is that none of them will be amongst those who will come out of the Qa'im. Kitab al-Ghayb by Nu'mani, page 254. And then they have this narration, attributed also in Kitab al-Ghayb, that all the 313, which according to them are the top supporters of the Mahdi, are Persians. And what does this tell you? What does this tell you? This tells me, if you put all these narrations together, there's not a bias, we're not making things up. We're not creating our own puzzle. Everything I cited, every narration I cited, is not randomly picked from Bihar al-Anwar, which is weakened this narration that this excuse doesn't work. Every narration I picked is actually in their books that speak about the 12th one, that solidly speak about the 12th one, like Kitab al-Ghayb by At-Tusi and Nu'mani and so on and so forth. So books that introduce him. This is how they've introduced him. But most people do not know, because most people do not read, and most people fall for, cheap propaganda, like the propaganda they've started lately with the hashtag the promised savior. Now, you guys should talk now something. I finished almost all my book. Where's Ali's gone? Ali, we can't hear you.
I'm here, just unmuting my mic. While you were speaking, I was trying to put the narrations on screen, but you're limited to number of characters.
Yeah.
Like cut in half, but yeah. I've also posted a link to the article, and I will include it in the description.
Yeah, make my article sticky, please. May Allah bless you. Allah.
Yeah, will do. Inshallah. So, guys, I think Hassan's established that.
Your voice is cutting off. You are in the Bermudas. You're in the Bermudas, bro. Or the 12th one is trying to hijack you. Where are you?
Is that okay now?
No, it's breaking, bro.
Mort's gonna say he's better than me.
Yeah, let me just. I guess we can figure out. I can hear you now.
No,
yeah,
it cuts off. Yeah.
But wait, I think it's coming back now. Go ahead, try now.
Okay. So yeah, I think we've established that he is a monster in some senses. I'd like to conclude with what we're here for. Is it fair to...
You get cut off the whole time. There's no...
Okay, I think they're both getting cut off.
You should No.
I'll post.
Write it there, the question, and add me and Idris. But how the heck do I add anyway? I don't know how this thing works. I can't add anybody.
Oh, I think Bonio has to do it. I think we can't.
Yeah. I can't add nobody. Yeah.
No, I think that's what Ali was saying is that we kind of established. I think you were able to establish, alhamdulillah, that the real reality, al-haqiqa, like what the Shia
He's a monster. He's a monster.
He's a monster. He's someone that resembles the Dajjal. He resembles someone that is completely foreign to any Sunni that would understand from being even from the Prophet's house. Even if this figure were true.
By the way, Morty, forget. Let's always advise to you and the viewers. Think always about that. You don't even need to go that deep about all him slaughtering Arabs. His hobby is slaughtering Arabs, and his hobby is to be friends with Persians and so on and so forth. Don't forget about that. Aslan, the fact. Who is hidden? Dajjal. Who is gonna perform things that look like miracles and people will fall for him and worship him? The followers of Dajjal. What sect and what religion in the world, or let's be more specific, which sect in the world that attributes to Islam believes someone that is hidden? And whenever we say hidden, they come with a strawman argument. Oh, what do you mean Khidr and Dajjal is over 1,000 years and more? Nobody has an issue with your Mahdi being 5 million years old. That's not the problem, man. Yeah, Masakin. The problem is not his age. The problem is Aslan, the whole theory. The whole theory is batil. Of what is the theory? That every time needs an infallible guide. Of what use is it? Is a so-called infallible guide that is not guiding anybody since 1,200 years. So what did they end up? They end up with claiming that he's hidden since 1,200 years. Dajjal is hidden. And this is the description of you 12.1 in your books. So although he doesn't exist, but we believe if the Dajjal one day will come, then those who already believe in this monster will what? Confuse the Dajjal for the Mahdi. Doesn't that make sense?
Hassan, wait. Let's cut to the chase. Let me ask you straightforward. Is the Shia Mahdi the Dajjal, yes or no?
No, we can't. There's no absolute answer. No, we don't say this. No, nobody who is serious says that he's literally the Dajjal. However, what can be said? He resembles many of the evil characteristics of the Dajjal and of a monster and of Adolf Hitler and Mao Zedong and many other monsters of history. This is what can be said.
So he will be at least at the aid of a Dajjal if this person comes back. He'll be someone who's like,
of course. And he was never born in the. He was never born in the first place. He doesn't even exist. Al-Askari had no son. However, what is in their imagination based on their riwayat, based on their narrations, that is a pure monster, a sadistic barbarian, blood-spilling, bloodthirsty, anti-Arab bigot. That's what he is. That's what he is in the imagination. That's what he is in the imagination.
From what I read, from what I understood from what you said, as me being an Arab, I would never trust any Shia Mahdi ever.
Of course not. Well,
and jump off a bridge. Like, I don't have nothing to do with this guy. Actually, if I saw him, I'd punch him in the face if I saw this guy.
Right?
I mean, the way it is, I mean, someone's trying to come kill me the way where I come from, you trying to kill me, I'm getting you first. So, I mean, if anything, if any Persian comes to me with this stuff, they're looking for, a whooping. I mean, that's the bottom line, because they're trying to tell me later on, I'm going to come get you. I'm not going to wait around for some guy to come get me.
But I need to emphasize, this must be understood. This fairy tale, this individual was never born. Now you might ask some, then why do you go through his description? For God's sake. Someone might not be born and doesn't exist, which certainly he was never born. The 12th one was never born. He's a myth. However, in the minds of a people, a concept has been built based on these horrendous narrations. So if one day an actual monster will appear, who will follow him?
Right.
The people who had read this already. Understood?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, I mean, anyone who hates the Arabs, they'll love them. Pretty much. Anyone who hates
exactly. Anybody who wants to slaughter the Arabs, see the Arabs being slaughtered. Everybody who wants to see the Persians being the top leaders and following the Mahdi, of course he's going to follow this. And by the way, they have started this anyway. How many Arabs have they slaughtered the Wilayat al-Faqih? How many Arabs have they slaughtered in the Khomeinis? You're Yemeni. How many Arabs have they slaughtered in Yemen in the name of Houthi and resistance?
Before this conflict, Yemen never had a picture of Khomeini in Yemen, ever.
And
So from Sana'a,
same thing with Iraq. There was no difference between Sunni and Shia. In Baghdad, you had Sunni families marrying into Shia tribes, Shia families. This is
so there you
Baghdad.
go. Here, Abu Fatimah is Iraqi and you're Yemeni. So from Sana'a, in the name of Houthi and resistance in Ansarullah, which is Ansar al-Shaitan, to Hizb al-Shaitan, to Bashar, the Muqawama resistance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, akhi, they have already started it. They have
So fighting Daesh and
They have slaughtered Sunnis in Iraq with militias and death squads, and Sunnis in Syria. And now you have a glimpse. Now you have an idea. Where does this haqid come from? Is it just Sahaba hatred? It's more than that. Sahaba hatred is what you know as a layman Sunni. Shias curse Sahaba. Now that's everybody knows this now.
But I'll be honest. When I talk to these people, I don't even think they care about their own religion. They just care about hating the Arabs. They don't. Most of these people don't practice anything. They don't pray. They don't know Quran. They know nothing. They just know that they're Arabs and we have to be opposite of them. Whatever they do, we're going to be opposite of them. If they're going to be, and that's what their idea is. Every time I come across them, I met one person who doesn't even believe in any of this Shia nonsense. He just says, "Look, I'm Persian. Culturally, I have to be against you Arabs. So I'm gonna be Shia culturally." That's it. I don't get it. I think he froze.
well, I mean, we've had this conversation myself and Hassan. Multiple West. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, you're Arab, or it's like I am, and they look at me and they think I'm Persian or might pass as Persian or Kurdish. It's like, oh, it's like, and even my father and some family members speak Farsi. It's their second language, and when they hear them, it's like, oh, but how can an Arab speak such good Farsi or such a civilized language? Yeah, it's.
I know the racism behind it, the bigotry, right?
Look down upon Arab. It's a racist.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I think you're cutting Abu Fatima. I think you're cutting. I think I lost Hassan and I don't know. Abu Noor, are you there? I think we got.
I'm here, but I don't know if you guys will be able to hear me.
Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear Abu Noor. I can hear Ali, and I can hear you.
Sorry, Abu Noor. Go ahead.
It's fine. As I expected, we're going to have internet issues. Basically, what's happening is we're all in different parts of the world. YouTube's having their own issues. Servers are overloaded because everyone's at home. Everyone's using the internet. It's as simple as that. I've got a very fast internet connection at home, but today it's just playing up. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we're close to wrapping up. Unless anyone has anything else they would like to add.
I mean, I think Hassan hit a home run, so I mean, I don't have anything to add. It's clear to me who the Shia Mahdi is.
Abu Mahdi, no relation to the Shia Mahdi though, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, alhamdulillah, there's no relationship between our Sunni, the personality that we believe in, versus the one that they actually are waiting for. So,
yeah, it's very safe to say that.
Abu Mahdi, you're cutting out.
No, I said it's very safe to say that there's no connection between the two, and that's probably one of the cheapest shubuhat that the Shia always bring, especially towards people who are less experienced in Sunni Shia polemics. They say, "Oh, don't you believe in a Mahdi as well?" And then that's it. And then the Sunni is often dumbfounded. But they're chalk and cheese. The difference between the two is heaven and earth. They could not be more different. They're two completely different people, and at their base, one exists and the other doesn't. And that's just not even that's besides looking at the details.
Right. I actually wanted to touch point on one of the tweets from from this Zindiq, Hassan al-Qadri, and where he says the Sunni Mahdi, we know nothing about him. Someone actually confronted him about this and actually mentions the ahadith of Sahih al-Bukhari, Muslim, and a few other narrations. And then he goes and tries to spin it. He says, yes, but where did I ever mention that was the only ahadith, or the only thing we know about? The way he worded his tweet is very decisive. And then he just because if he were to get called out,
Yeah, you're breaking up there.
Yeah, I think you cut off, buddy.
He's gone.
Yeah, it might be time to call it a night, Ali.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll end on that. So I think, just to recap, we've established the Shia Mahdi and the Sunni Mahdi are not the same. We've spoken about who the Dajjal is according to Sunni narrations. There are some similarities to the Shia Mahdi. It wouldn't be correct to say a blanket statement that the Shia Mahdi is Dajjal. That would be unfair. However, it would be fair to say that, as I said before, the Shia are right. They are prepared to follow the Dajjal when he does come because of what they believe about the Mahdi. I'm sure this video will shock a lot of people. As Hassan was saying, people haven't been exposed to the nature of this Shia Mahdi and what he'll do. Of course, it's been hidden from you. You know, much like how what Jesus will do according to the Christians has been hidden from you. You know, we're taught the narrative that Jesus is all loving and he's going to return and just love everyone. And that's not the case. He'll do a lot of killing. So it's the same thing. We've looked at a lot of racism towards Arabs from the side of the Shia Mahdi. Again, racism does seem to be a problem in Tashayyu. We've looked at racism towards the Kurds. We've looked at racism towards the blacks. Do check out our video on Shia racist narrations, I think it's called. As you can see, guys, it's a religion that's it's a mess. It's simply a mess. It's violent. You can look at our video called, I think it's Hateful Narrations in Shiism, and you can see basically what's been allowed to happen, what they're permitted to do to Nasabis, but then you have to understand what they consider a Nasabi. So Hassan's trying to get back in. Let me get him. Hassan, you can have final say. Are you in, Hassan?
No, there's one more thing I want to show.
No.
Still breaking, buddy.
We can't hear you, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna remove him. Abu Mahdi, Jazakallah khair, Jazakallah khair, Abu Fatimah, and Hassan. I'm removing you guys, and I'm leaving it with Mort. You can wrap up, bro.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the live show. My first time here, but you guys were a pleasure to be with. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We were able to talk about this. And make sure you guys subscribe and like and share this so that these brothers can get their recognition and the message that gets out. Bi'idhnillah. So make sure you guys tune in later on for more information. Stay tuned.
What's your Twitter handle?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Hold on.
At Mort.
At Mort.
TMM.
PMM?
T as in Tom, MM. Mort, the Mad Mamluks.
Oh, that's too long. Anyway, I was going to type it out and put it on screen.
Yeah, Mort TMM.
I want everyone to spam Mort's Twitter account and basically push him to join the Sunni Defense. I want him to start presenting for us. I think he's a natural, and I'm sure you guys will agree.
Inshallah, we'll work on it. Inshallah, we'll work on it.
Just trying to see him from the Mad Mamluks. Barakallah feek, guys. Okay, thank you for tuning in, and assalamu alaikum.